Hi everyone and welcome back to another video. I thought today we would just touch on something that I think is pretty important at this time of year, but maybe some of us don't want to talk about it because we're all in the holiday spirit, whatever. But I just want to share with you guys a way of dealing with uncomfortable feelings. There's so many different ways that uncomfortable feelings can come up. I'm sure you can think of a few things that are going to come up this holiday season that you're a bit nervous for, and I just want to teach you guys a way of dealing with that so that you are prepared. It's a really easy process that we're going to go through, but what's really important is that you feel safe and you are in a position where you're able to take some time for yourself in order to get through this process. It's going to help you be more prepared, make you feel more comfortable, and let you know that you can get through absolutely anything that you've got coming up. So what I'm about to teach you is a meditation technique. I've heard it called the peace process before, but it's really just a body scan. You can do this meditation sitting down, standing up. You can do it when you're going for a walk. You can do it when you go for a drive or when you're carrying out other activities. You want to use this anytime you feel guilt, anxiety, shame, or any of those uncomfortable feelings that stop us from living our best, most authentic life or being the most present and vulnerable version of ourselves. Really, this technique can be used anytime you feel any unpleasant feeling at all. So in order to start this meditation, I want you to go somewhere nice and quiet, get comfortable. Now I want you to think of a situation that will make you uncomfortable. Yep, even thinking about it will bring up some of those feelings. Maybe a situation for some of us people pleasers out there is telling somebody that you disagree with them and you disagree with their standpoint. I actually don't struggle with that, but that's a pretty common example, I think, of a situation that will make us feel uncomfortable. Maybe you're afraid of hurting somebody's feelings by saying what you need. Maybe you're gonna turn down an invitation to a Christmas party and that's gonna make you feel anxious. Or maybe whenever you meet someone new, you start to worry too much about whether you're making them comfortable or whether they're gonna like you, and that's filling you with like a sense of dread or panic. So the meditation is gonna start with us thinking about an uncomfortable situation. The second step is becoming aware of the sensations that are coming up in our body as a result of thinking about that uncomfortable situation. Once you begin to feel that weird feeling, for me, sometimes those weird feelings come up as butterflies in my stomach, but most often they come up as like a sensation right here on my solar plexus, and it's just like a constricting feeling. I can feel my heart start to race. Maybe you get a little bit shortness of breath, or you feel yourself going red and blushing. And before you freak out, this is part of the meditation. And remember, it's not actually happening. You're just thinking about it happening. Once we're aware of it, step 3 is we're simply gonna bring our attention to wherever in our body we're feeling that uncomfortable or unpleasant feeling come up. This might take a second for you if you're not used to sitting in that uncomfort. So just take a few deep breaths here, and I just want you to slow yourself down and really see if you can feel where in your body is becoming tight. Maybe you can feel your jaw starting to clench up. It's gonna be different for everybody depending on the situation. So I just want you to scan yourself and feel where those feelings are coming up. And we're just gonna keep breathing. We're not gonna try and change those feelings. We're not gonna shame ourselves for having those feelings. We're just gonna breathe. So for me, when I'm anxious, I can feel right here, gets nice and tight, my solar plexus. So if I was doing this exercise, I'd just be breathing and continuing to breathe, and I'm noticing that it's tight. There's no judgment. There's no, oh, you shouldn't feel that way, or, oh, this should be easy for you. Why do you feel uncomfortable? None of that. I'm just noticing what's happening. It's super common for a lot of us to brace whenever we feel like there's an uncomfortable situation coming up. It's like our body is preparing to fight, flight, freeze, fawn, whatever. But instead, what this meditation is teaching us is to move towards that uncomfortable sensation. And that is something that is completely new for so many of us. You're not avoiding it. You're not bullying yourself for having that feeling. You're going right towards it. Your impulse, like I said, might be to kind of pull back or to really freak out and worry about what's happening. But you're not gonna do that. You're not trying to change it. You're just gonna feel it. And as we're going through this process, what I do want you to also witness is your attitude towards these feelings. Like I said, for me, something that comes up is a lot of shame about having these feelings. Like, why is it scary for me to ask for a raise? Did I not do a good job? So I feel like a lot of shame around feeling scared about it. So that's an attitude that I notice when I go through this process. Maybe you're kind of frustrated or embarrassed that you have these feelings and you're like, oh, why? But I do think that this avoidance of the feelings is something that keeps us stuck in them for much longer than we need to be. So maybe you've got a relative that is known for saying some spicy things over family dinners and you want to confront them, but the thought of confronting them makes you feel that uncomfortable feeling. What would happen if you didn't shove that uncomfortable feeling away and feel frustrated and beat yourself up for having it? What if you just processed it, you sat through it and you breathed through it, you acknowledge that your body is having this response and it's just a response. It doesn't mean anything. We don't have to attach a narrative to it. It doesn't mean that you're scared. It doesn't mean that you're not good at standing up for yourself. It just means that your heart is racing and your chest is constricting. That's all it means. So when you sit there and you breathe through, you're showing yourself that you are capable of dealing with these uncomfortable feelings. Just surrender to it. And when you're doing this meditation, because remember, we're still not doing the real thing. We're still just doing the meditation. Anytime your attention drifts elsewhere or you feel yourself turning into that frustration or embarrassment, just bring your attention back to the feeling and just keep breathing. There's nothing else for you to be doing right now. The feeling might change as you go through this meditation. So sometimes for me, as soon as I start paying attention to that tightness in my abdomen, I do start feeling my heart race, or maybe I go a little bit red, and that feeling moves throughout my body. But this meditation is teaching us to meet these feelings with compassion, acceptance, and love. When was the last time you just acknowledged yourself and you sat yourself down and you're like, yep, you're having these feelings and that's okay. These feelings might be representative of that little part of yourself that is so scared in these situations. And how beautiful that you are now taking the time to sit with that version of yourself, be there for them and tell them it's okay and we're gonna get through this. We're gonna breathe through it. How incredible is that? This small version of yourself has probably been scared for a really long time about these uncomfortable situations, and you've just been pushing it down and telling it to not be scared. And now you're giving it the attention, the love, and compassion that it deserves. You're meeting it with gentleness and you're meeting it straight on where it is. You're not coming up with stories. You're not bullying yourself. You just are. You're just being. As we go further into this process, and maybe you practice it more often, something beautiful begins to happen. You begin to stop avoiding things because of uncomfortable feelings, because you know you can handle them. You've practiced it. You've visualized how it's gonna feel and you've done it. You've got through it. Maybe you are so used to being in this world where you're trying to minimize having these bad feelings. I mean, I know I certainly do that. And now you're actually meeting these feelings head on. And what a powerful experience that is. And when you're willing to meet this fear, this anxiety, this embarrassment, this shame, when you're meeting those feelings head on, you're taking away their power. You're taking away, like I said, their narrative, their story. They don't mean anything. It's just a sensation that's happening in our body. Feelings are just feelings. They're not facts. And they're not tied to the stories that we tell ourselves. When I was reading the Holistic Psychologist book, and I'll pop it up here, there is a part in it where she talks about how the actual chemical response that's happening in our body to create feelings, technically, it should only last about 90 seconds. There are 90-second events in our body. We keep them coming back and we create these feelings for longer than 90 seconds because we're giving them life. We're ruminating on them. We're blocking them out and then bringing them back in and blocking them out and bringing them back in. Whereas imagine, instead of being anxious all day about something and worried about the fact that I'm anxious, I just sat with my anxiety for 90 seconds. I didn't create stories. I tried my best not to say what that anxiety means about me. I just sat with it. Maybe it would pass a lot quicker. As you do this enough, you will begin to notice that those feelings last for a shorter amount of time. They're not gonna be as scary, and you're gonna realize that you can breathe through it. You can do it. You are a superstar. And before we go, guys, take a minute for this dress. Look at that. Oh, back. Beautiful. I hope all of you guys have an incredible holiday period. I will see you again shortly, I am sure. I'm thinking of you all. I'm sending my love. I want you to know that you can do difficult things and you can breathe through difficult things. You are worthy of being able to stand up for yourself. You have a right to do that. So try this practice out. It might help you. It's okay to be scared. You're not a bad person. You're not incapable. You're not incompetent. You're a person. You're like everybody else, and I'm really proud of you. So be kind to yourselves in the process. Be kind to yourselves throughout this holiday period, everyone. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you all next time. Bye, guys.